guys, it's Tegan, your creative friend. So you're thinking about diving into photography, but you're feeling a little unsure. I totally get it. When I first started my journey, I had so many questions like, what camera do I start with? How do I even start? Will my photos look good? Can I even do this? And the answer is yes, you can. And today I'm here to walk you through all of the basics and share how I went from confused to confident. And trust me, if I can do it, so can you. First thing is first, choosing your camera. I know this part seems a little overwhelming, and I know it seems like you need an expensive camera to start with, but here's the truth, you don't. You can get started with whatever you have. I literally started with my phone, and it works great. If you're ready to upgrade, you might be looking at two main types of cameras, DSLR and mirrorless. Let me break it down super simply for you. DSLRs are like the classic bulky cameras with a mirror inside that reflects the light up into the viewfinder so you can see exactly what you're capturing. They're great for beginners because they've been around forever and usually have a really great battery life, but they can be a little bit heavy. Mirrorless cameras, on the other hand, do not have that mirror inside. This makes them a little bit smaller, lighter, which is great for portability. They also use electronic viewfinders, meaning what you see on the screen is what your camera is capturing. They're newer and can have a faster autofocus and better video quality in some cases, but the battery life can be a little bit shorter. Honestly, it's up to you. Both types of cameras can take amazing photos. Start with what feels your best for your needs and your budgets, and don't overcomplicate things right away. Just do whatever feels right for you. Now, let's talk gear. You don't need a ton of expensive equipment to get started. I remember when I thought I needed all of these fancy lenses and lightings, but the truth is I started with a very basic camera setup and tripod, and I even use natural light most of the time. Genuinely, even if you cannot get a camera right now, I started my journey with a Google Pixel 2 XL just to experiment and have fun. If you're on a budget, consider getting a good tripod and maybe a simple ring light to start, or even the starter kits. I'll link some affordable options below. Start with the basics and then you can upgrade as you grow. Now let's talk the basics of shooting. So you might hear the terms like ISO, aperture, and shutter speed. I know it can kind of sound super overwhelming at first, but let me break it down for you in the simplest way possible. First up is ISO, or what I like to call ISO. This controls how sensitive your camera is to light. Think of it like the brightness setting on your phone screen. If you turn the ISO up too high, your photos might get a little too grainy or noisy, which I personally like. So start with a low ISO like 100 when you're in good light, and only turn it up when it's dark, like outdoors or at night. Next is aperture. This controls how wide the lens opens when you take a photo. Imagine aperture is like your eyeball. When you're in a bright place, your pupils shrink, but when it's dark, they widen to let in more light. A wide aperture, like a 1.8, gives you more light, and it gives you that blurry background effect, perfect for portraits. A narrow aperture, like an f8 or higher, is great for sharp, detailed landscapes. And lastly is shutter speed. This is how fast your camera captures a photo. A fast shutter speed, like a 500, freezes motion. So it's great for action shots. A low shutter speed, like a 1/30, can create a blurry effect, which is great for things like light trails or capturing movement, and my personal favorite. But don't stress about getting these perfect right away. Start with your camera in auto mode, get comfortable, and as you experiment, slowly start playing with these settings to see how they change your photos. And you don't need to do it all at once. Just take it one step at a time and honestly have fun with experimenting in the different settings. The next subject is important to know, but in my opinion, I'm very loose with this information in my own personal journey because it gives me more freedom to experiment with what I like, but it's always good to know. Next up is composition. It's all about framing your shot in a way that looks good to the eye. The trick I love is the rule of thirds. Imagine your photo split into a grid of 2 horizontal and 2 vertical lines. Try to place your subject along these lines or at the intersections. This simple tip can make a huge difference in how your photos turn out. But again, just have fun experimenting with it. One of the best things you can do is practice. Don't worry about getting it perfect, just start shooting. Try different angles, lighting setups, and subjects. You'll learn so much by experimenting with your camera. And remember, you're gonna make mistakes. And guess what? It's okay, and that is a part of the process. The more you practice, the better you will get. And you'll find your personal style in the process. Here is the most important thing that I want you to remember. It's okay to feel uncertain at first. We all start somewhere, and photography is a journey. You'll have moments where you feel like you're not improving, but trust me, you are. The key is to keep going, keep experimenting, and keep learning. And when you feel like your photos are not turning out the way that you want, do not quit. Find your style and never compromise what makes you stand out as an artist and an individual. What really kept me motivated was finding my own style, whether it was capturing moments of my travels, experimenting with my self-portraits. I found my passion in photography, and that makes all the difference. Find what excites you and let that be your focus. When you love what you're doing, it makes the learning process so much more fun. Always be the student and always continue to push the boundaries of your work as an artist. All right, that is it. Starting photography was not easy for me, but it was so worth it, and I want to be that source of information for you guys. Remember, you do not need a fancy camera or the perfect setup. Just start with what you have. Take it one step at a time. Be kind to yourself while you're learning, and don't forget to experiment, and most importantly, have fun with it. I've linked all the gear that I've recommended down below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any new tips. Good luck with your photography journey, and I cannot wait to see what you create. We'll see you next time.